Hello and welcome back to the Age of Sunbros YouTube channel. I hope you all didn't miss me too much. This is your host, SerSharkDad, back with the Civilization Spotlight series. And today, obviously, we have Inca up on the screen. So for anybody interested in Inca, anybody who has played Inca and wants to learn a little bit more, this is the video for you. And of course, I can think of no better person, a man of substantial intellect, who has been on the channel before, who is just one of the greatest representatives of the French Republic. Kenoki is here to talk about Inca. Kenoki, welcome to the channel.
Thank you. Hello. I don't know how big my intellect is and if I am the best representative of France, but thank you, man. Thank you.
Of course, man. I truly do mean it. I think anytime that you've come on and just have graced your presence in the channel and in the discords, I think you're very knowledgeable about this game, at least for all of us low elo legends out there. So with that being said, let's talk about Inca, one of the new civs, I guess, but released alongside Age of Empires 3 when it first came out. And it's a bit of a different take on native civilizations, obviously. So like if I'm new to Inca, right? Can you tell me what are like the great strengths of Inca, and then what are like the debilitating weaknesses of Inca that I would need to know?
One of the biggest strengths is basically a civ that doesn't need any micro, like almost. I'm trolling, of course. You need some micro, but it's harder for your opponent to micro against you than it is for you to micro against them. That's the idea of Inca right there. Also, it's a civ that has excellent map control overall, excellent tempo early game, very good building in order to secure map control. So if you're a player that likes to control the map and to see everything on the map, Inca is really a very good civ. If you feel like playing, for example, Dutch feels a little bit claustrophobic, that's really something you will never that's a feeling you won't know with Inca, basically. Also, you have potentially perfect vision. Inca is the civ that has the most scout in the game. Nice. They receive scouts for free, basically. So it's a really, really good civ on that front. And yeah, that's really for the strength. So it's very flexible overall. We will dive into that. One of the weaknesses of Inca, I would say there is first a few noob traps, I would say, with Inca. Decisions that you feel are good and are not really. So that's the first problem with Inca. The second problem with Inca is artillery. And what I mean by that is that you have no access to artillery. And you have few ways, effective, but few ways of dealing with artillery. And one of the big issue is if you let your opponent reach a critical mass of artillery, you might not be able to get rid of it.
Okay.
That's one of the big thing. Very often I see people complain when they play Inca, I cannot deal with artillery and stuff. And I'm like, okay, how many heavy cannons are there? There are 5. Yeah, that's too late. By that point, you're almost dead. So yeah, that's really a big thing with Inca. You have to keep the artillery numbers low on your opponent's side. Okay. So if you let a Mexican boom for 25 minutes, yeah, you are gonna die. Like that's both. We can laugh about it, but at the same time, it's a real weakness of the civ. There is one way to deal with artillery and to effectively deal with large amount of artillery, and it's a one time only in the entire game.
Okay.
So yeah, and I would say the last strength is, I said the civ was flexible, but right now it is very dependent on natives. Natives makes the civ a lot better, like a lot better. So yeah, if the natives are good on the map, good for you. If the natives are trash, it's really the build orders we are going to see today are less effective on maps in which natives don't work, basically. Okay. Or natives are not good, or there are no natives. Okay. That's one of the big things of Inca right now in the meta.
Interesting. So, yeah. Would you say, just a quick question, would you say that this is a civ that is approachable for the new player, or would you recommend that maybe they try something else before jumping into Inca?
I would say any new player should try French for 10 games because they are so simple. It will also allow you to discover the natives a little bit, but Inca is not an art sieve in itself. The big issue you will face with Inca is that you have some weird timings that you need to be able to achieve, and you have to be at least a bit sharp to get a fast fortress, especially in current metagame. And we will talk about this during the build, I believe.
Yes.
But yeah, let's say that the old way of playing Inca, which was basically spamming Kensha houses in H2, doesn't really work anymore, especially in this meta, especially because it had been nerfed multiple times. And if you go for that style, you might have a few bad surprises. Right now, you really need to find that timing to fortress. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's the most approachable Civ, but once you get a few basics, just go. Like it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. So let's just go. Allons-y. So we're gonna go into a deck, and there's my chocolate jackal deck. So we have a test deck here, right? It's totally blank for you, Kenoki. So if I am a brand new Inca player and I want to, make a standard deck, a land deck for my standard 1v1 games, what deck are we building? So let's go age 1 and then pick your cards and then explain why, and then we'll go through each age individually.
Yeah. So the way I like to build decks is I like to have like a few cards that are basically mandatory. So I'm gonna talk about these first. So the first card, very obviously, is the free villager card, which is absolutely mandatory. No need to explain further. Then we are gonna jump straight into H2 because other cards in H1 are going to be more situational. We are going to come back to them, but it's going to be more situational. H2, 5 villagers, obviously, is going to be a must. 700 coin is going to be a must. That's really a card that you will need in order to transition into Fortress Edge. The support for the pikes is really, really important. The one with the 8 pikes that cost gold.
8 pikes that cost
bottom.
gold. Where are they at? Oh, they're down here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Canary support. This card is really, really cool. You have basically one of the best Pac-Man in the game. This makes them even better, and that's a key component of having that composition, which is impossible to micro against. So really, this card, in my opinion, is a must. And another card that is a must in H2 is the range infantry support card in order for attack. There you go. This card for me is really, really important. What it does in the late game in particular is that it buffs your Urarakas. And Urarakas are basically the only way you can deal with artillery. And this card, when you use on top of that the community Padza, is going to make it that you need only 7 shots or 8. I think it's 7. 7 shots to kill an heavy cannon instead of 8.
Nice.
Might not seem like much, but that's a back point that you want because, yeah, as I said earlier, artillery is going to be an issue. So this is going to help you deal with that problem. So yeah, basically a really good card to have, even just for Urakas. So this is H2. Overall, these are the mandatory cards. You might be surprised that 600 wood isn't there. That's a card that I honestly don't put in many decks. Simply because if you need 600 wood, the chances are that you are going for a lot of Kensha houses. So 600 wood is really a card that I will consider only if I go for long H2, which is honestly not something that I will consider doing in a lot of matchups. I will rather go to Fortress Edge, or if I stay in H2, it's going to be with natives. So I'm not going to need the 600 wood as much. So yeah, that's a card that I will sometimes consider, but not in all my decks.
I forgot to ask you one question.
Yes.
So because I forgot to mention what was unique, right? So we mentioned the concha house a couple of times. Can you explain for people listening what is a concha house?
A concha house is basically it's a normal house that is not normal. So a concha house, like any house, it supports population. That's the first thing that it does. It supports 16 population for a cost of 170 wood. And on top of that, it gathers food at a rate of 0.6. So it's basically a non-upgraded villager on food.
Wow.
So one of the big thing that was done back in the day was that you were going to spam Kencha House in H2. But here is the thing. The big thing to think about is that as long as you use the population of the Kencha House, you basically pay 10 wood in order to have a villager, as long as you use the population. Mm-hmm. But if you don't use the population, you basically pay a villager on food, which is really not the most valuable, a non-upgraded villager on food, so it's like the bare bone, the bare minimum. You pay it 170 wood if you don't use the population.
Right.
So that's what I was calling the noob trap earlier, is that you might be inclined to do like any other house sieve and just place a lot of houses, but it's gonna absolutely kill your tempo. Like absolutely kill it.
Right.
At release, I believe it was 140 wood and it was gathering like 0.9. It was busted at that time, but now it's not. Basically, it's really not the same. It was 0.5, but Kinchaos were a lot less expensive. Now it's 0.6, but the card that buffs the Kencha House is a lot less interesting, basically. So yeah, Kencha House is really the main thing of Inca. That's their main eco bonus. And as you can see, it's not as good anymore. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I would say is, unless you need the population, do not try to spam Kencha House. Like, really do not. Because it's gonna kill your timings, and especially we are in a meta in which a lot of very siege-heavy builds exist out there. If you look Baja California, if you look Islanders, if you look, all those builds have crazy amount of siege.
Right.
Your house are not gonna stand a single chance against those. So yeah, he's just gonna kill your tempo basically.
Okay, this is why you're not taking Chincha Brewing, right? Which is going to increase the
pretty much
rate, right? So
the Chincha Brewing is a card I will consider as basically an addition. Once again, if I'm going to go into a long H2, which is something that I don't want to do usually, but Chincha Brewing, you have to think of it as a card that you will now send late into the game because you are not spamming Kencha House early. And when you get it late into the game, it's I believe it's a 3.75, maybe 4 food trickle bonus. So it's good, but when you think about it, is that a card that you really want when you can send 2 TCs in H3? You know, like
right. Yeah.
My answer is no. Basically.
Yeah.
It's really not as good. Let me just check. It goes from 7.2 to, so it's 4.32 foot trickle, which sure it's good, but is it something that is gonna win you the game once you are already late into H2?
No, probably not.
Which is a situation in which you don't want to be. My answer, at least, is no.
Right.
So yeah, usually I don't go for Chicha Brewing. Yeah.
Okay. And one last question before we move on. The Plume Spearman, you said it's one of the best pikemen in the game. So what's the difference between a Plume Spearman as a pikeman versus just your pikeman? You know, how do
It is fast, like really, really fast. It has a 5.0 movement speed, which is just amazing. I believe it has more HP, more melee resist, more damage, more everything, basically. It is awesome. And on top of that, the big difference is that stat-wise, it's better. And on top of that, it costs mainly food. So it's 100 food, 25 wood, which might seem more expensive than a normal spearman, and it is, but it's only 25 wood. It's mostly food. And food, thanks to Kencha houses that you are gonna spam throughout the game, is really not a resources that you will lack
Right.
overall. And it's a resource that is, unlike wood, gonna enable you to basically keep building up towards age ups in particular. So yeah, plume spearmen are just an excellent unit. As I said, food heavy, and food is a lot easier to gather than wood, even for Inca.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So these are the standard cards for Age 2. Did you want to add more in Age 2?
For now, no.
Okay.
But of course, we're gonna add more cards. But these are really the basic cards that I will consider in pretty much every deck.
Okay.
And I like to build decks that way.
Okay.
In H3, I will consider 4 to 5 cards. So in H3, there is the 1000 Wood, which is honestly mandatory. It's too good. 1000 Wood. There is the 2TC card. So 2TC card, just to give a little pointer to everyone watching, 2TC card is usually a card that you will have access to in H4 for any other Civ. Inca have access to it in H3. So it's absolutely insane. It's a crazy amount of map control. You can, of course, spawn villager from there, garrison them. In cat and center, on top of that, you have the big button. Big buttons are something any warchief civ and any native civs in general have access to.
Okay.
So yeah, those big button from the TC is gonna spawn a lot of plume spearmen. So yeah, that's a card that I will always include in my decks. The next card that I'm gonna always include in my deck is the melee infantry combat, which is absolutely awesome. Plus 15% damage and HP for everything that is melee. So plume spearmen, chimera runners, macemen, even if it's more situational. But yeah, excellent card, absolutely mandatory, because really the late game comp is very often gonna be plume spearmen for sure. Chimera runners if you are not versus basically full heavy infantry. So it may happen, but unless you are playing versus something like Brit, which has maybe the best musketeer in the game, chimera runners are going to be a good thing. So yeah, this card mandatory. And the last card that I will almost always include in my deck, this might be surprising, but it's going to be the 8 Renegade Spanish.
Oh. Okay.
This card is amazing. As I said, I'm usually going for some kind of fast or semi-fast castle strategies. Having access to Renegade Spanish is gonna make it so I will basically always have a button in order to wipe the floor
Right.
against an opponent push. I believe for Spanish it's 5. It's 5 how is it called, lenses that they will have. Here we're gonna have 8 lenses for sure a little cost, but it's better to pay that cost and get 3 more lenses than not.
Right. No.
So yeah, excellent card.
It is.
And that's gonna a last card that I would include in almost all my deck, but it's not mandatory, is the Machu Picchu card. It's the 4th card. The 4th, the Stronghold to be exact, is so essential to almost 3/4 of the strategies out there for Inca. I will really consider getting a Stronghold in your deck, especially if you go for semi-fast castle or fast castle strategies.
Okay.
So yeah.
So
Yeah.
quick questions. So, because we've mentioned a couple of things now, and I'm just imagining. I know that people probably already know this, but in case somebody is brand new picking up the game and they don't know, what is a Chimu runner?
So a Chimu runner is basically an horseman, but without the horse. That's the best way to think about the Chimu runners. It's a dude with a mace and a little shield that runs really, really, really freaking fast, and that counters everything that cavalry does. It is just cavalry, but more annoying. On top of that, you have a big button with Chimu runners that make it so I believe they do not snare, but they cannot be snared.
Right.
Which is absolutely insane if you have to go through or out of a sticky situation. So if you absolutely need to kill that piece of artillery, that's what Chimera runners are for. If you need to raid some villagers, that's what Chimera runners are for. It's a really, really effective unit. One of the things, though, is that the Chimera runners support card is really, really important if you are going to make them an essential part of your strategy. So it's the 10 Chimera runners that cost gold. That is just bottom right of your mouse. This card is going to be really, really, really important if you are looking to make Chimera runners a central part of your composition. It's going to be in most cases in the deck, this card. You can honestly click on it. But it's a card if you are playing versus a Civ once again. For example, if you are going to play against Japan, that is going to spam a billion Ashigarus anyway. Maybe this is not the best card in the game.
Right.
That's the idea. But honestly, I will put it in almost any deck because at least it's going to force your opponent to make those Ashigarus. So yeah, really, really good card.
Okay. And then the next question is, what is... Yes. So I've seen forts before in European civs, obviously. What is this?
The Machu Picchu is a bit special because it's a fort in which you can garrison military units and it can receive shipments, and those shipments are going to immediately garrison into the Machu Picchu, which makes it extremely hard for your opponent to know what pop is going to come out. Basically, it's an excellent thing in order to get some crazy military pops. And on top of that, one of the really the most unique thing is that for every military unit that is in it, and I believe it's up to 25, this thing gets more damage. And it can get a crazy amount of damage. And on top of that, we are going to see that there are both cards and upgrade in the game that can upgrade its range up to... I don't want to say something stupid, but it goes to almost 30 range, I believe, or 20, or it goes above 28, which is the range of an heavy cannon. So that's the big thing. Yeah, with those cards, with those upgrades, if your opponent doesn't have a mortar, there is no freaking way they are going to take down a stronghold. That's the way to think about it. This piece of infrastructure is so strong. If your opponent doesn't have mortars, they are not going for it. Like that, it's just not possible if you invest into it. So that's really the main thing about those stronghold.
Nice.
They are crazy. So yeah, really an essential part of your composition. On top of that, it gives you access to all of your H3 units. Basically, your units are split into two kind of units. You have the base unit, which are the Chimera runners, the Plume Spearmen, and the Jungle Bowmen. Those are the base units that you're going to make. And then you have the Macemen, the Bolas Thrower, and the Huaracas, which are the more advanced unit that you are going to make. The main thing here is the Huaraca. Really, it's really the main thing here that you are looking for. And having access to a stronghold is going to make you able to batch those Huaracas, and that's really essential. That's something you absolutely want to do, and you are gonna need a Kalenkas, which is something that is gonna allow you to upgrade those only once you go industrial. So really, the stronghold is super important.
Okay, what are Huaracas?
Huaracas are basically your answer to artillery. Up until you face 5 heavy cannons, basically. So Huaracas are both your anti-artillery and your siege.
Okay.
Especially with one of the H4 cards that we are going to see later. It's really a pillar of your composition because you cannot always rely on being able to dive on top of your opponent's artillery. And those guys are going to make sure those artillery pieces fall. Okay. Basically, that's the big thing. While everything else is just spamming, and on top of that, they are going to siege key buildings very effectively once you just swarm into your opponent base. So really, Huaracas are an absolute must, and you must have some into your deck.
Can 7 Huaracas kill the 2 Falconet shipment if your opponent does a fast fortress alongside your fast fortress?
Pretty much. The big thing is, of course, being in range. Huaracas have less range than Falconets. So you will need a little bit of micro, etc., etc. But usually, if you have some units around, basically what I mean by that is if you attack with 7 Urarakas into 2 files protected by 20 musketeers, you might kill one, but you are not going to kill 2 falconets. But as soon as you add on top of that a few plume spearmen in order to take the shot from the muskets, if you add like a batch of shimmy runners, something like this, the 2 falconets are going to go down.
Okay.
And that's all you need. You don't need to kill the push, you need to kill the artillery.
Right.
That's all you need.
Okay. And what's your opinion on bolus warriors? Because I see different things. You know, sometimes they're cool. You know, what do they do, and what is your thoughts on them?
Basically, it's an anti-cavalry unit that is ranged. It's like a boosted musketeer, but that is a lot more specialized against cavalry. To be fair, I was a huge fan of the unit at release because the negative multiplier against infantry wasn't there. And this made it so in the extreme late game, it was a good unit to mass. Sure, there was the pop issue, but yeah. Today, honestly, I will not consider Bolas Warriors almost at all. To be fair, and even then, the only situation in which I will consider Bolas Riders is if you are facing an heavy cavalry that is ranged. So yeah, and even versus those, they have some negative multiplier in order to compensate for how effective they could be. But for example, or if you are facing a very goon heavy faction, then I will consider those Bolas Warrior. But even then, to be fair, Plume Spearmen, Shimmy Runners, and like massing goons against Inca is not a good idea. So basically, you are trying to patch a problem that is not one. Like as I said, only matchup I would consider this is maybe into Acapelites.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Stuff like this, you know.
Yeah.
Other than that, honestly, nah, I'm not gonna bother. Because it's expensive. Animation honestly kinda suck. And on top of that, they are not flexible enough as a unit. Meanwhile, you have this Plume Spearman that is a lot less expensive because it's mostly food, a lot easier to macro for, better siege. It's a way more versatile unit. You're going to be able to float the map with it. This you cannot float the map with, you know. So yeah, not a huge fan, to be fair.
Okay, fair enough. So we were going to move on to age 4.
We can, yeah.
Okay.
As really the main card that I will consider in almost any deck, it is the one that boosts your plantations. So the green one at the bottom. Yeah, this one you absolutely need. Plus 20% on your farm and estates is too big of a boost in the late game to not take, basically. So anyone should really take this card. It's by far like the best H4 card. It's gonna scale your economy. So yeah.
Okay.
I will take it in absolutely any deck. The other card that I will take myself, at least, in almost any deck is the 22 Urarakas support card. There you go. Which is gonna increase the siege armor. What you have to understand is that once they get enough range, so once you reach H4, Urarakas basically have only one counter, and it's siege, and Urarakas counter siege. So the thing is, you want to win the battle Uraraka versus siege, you know.
Right.
And on top of that, having more siege range attack is going to make you able to deal with fort safely, deal with outpost safely, etc., or just to be more flexible when you click into your opponent base, you know. So to be safer from pops, etc. So yeah, that's a card that I will almost always consider.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
So this is really the base of the deck, I would say. I would put this in almost every single deck I will play. Those cards are going to be in.
Okay.
In almost every deck I will play. Then, so here is the big thing. You still have the old way of playing, which is basically going for long H2 and then moving into H3. I do not consider that option anymore. I think it's not good enough. basically. But we can include a few cards in order to play towards that direction. But really, I would rather promote a deck that I think is much better, with a much higher ceiling right now, which is the Natives deck. Natives decks are a lot better with Inca right now. So if you're on a player, it's gonna be all fine. Don't worry, it's gonna work even on the non-native map, I would say, because the natives are gonna buffer up until you reach a certain point in the game in which you don't need them anymore. And if you are on a map with good natives, you're gonna have even more fun. And if you are an advanced player and you want to go into tournament, why the are you playing Inca on a map with bad natives? Like, that's all I'm gonna say. If you're an experienced player and you are looking for Inca in tournament, don't play them on a map with bad natives. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
So yeah. So here we are gonna add all of the cards that are related to natives. So in H1, the most important one is the Sapa Inca. It's the one with the guy that thinks he's Jesus with his staff on the right side. Yeah, this one. Sapa Inca. So a lot of it points for your war chief, but more importantly, you enable a better aura for your war chief, and it is faster. So what does the war chief, the Inca war chief, what does it do? By default, it boosts any native that is next to it or close to it. It boosts it by 10% attack and hit points. That's basic, that's default. But when you send this card, you add on top of that plus 15% on top of that for both attack and HP. It's faster and it has more hit points, so it's harder to snipe. So basically, this is going to make it so any native that is close to your war chief is going to be boosted by 25% both attack and HP, which in one card is absolutely insane. And it makes your war chief harder to kill and it makes it faster. So basically, your war chief is going to survive the fight. So yeah, really insane card when you play with native. The other card that I will consider in H1 is the one in which you can select a tribe. So it's on the left side, second line, second row. Yeah, there you go. Ship a native assembly, and you can ally to one of the civ. So this is an excellent card, especially for late game. What we are looking for is the Zapotec allies. First of all, it gives you access to basically what is a Jaguar Prowler Knight, especially when you have it next to your Sapa Inca. But on top of that, and to me the most important, is it's going to give you access to a tech which boosts any melee attack, melee damage of your units by 20%. Oof. And when your comp is basically 75% melee, this take is absolutely mandatory. Absolutely mandatory. It's gonna carry you far. So yeah, very good thing. Very good card, I would say. Honestly, if you're a beginner and you are starting to play with Inca, a very good build that I would honestly recommend is going 3 Villager, American Allies. You are into H2, you spam Zapotex, then you send Sapa Inca as soon as you can, and you just develop your economy behind this. As soon as you are at 15 Zapotec, which is the limit, you are looking to go into H3. If you are looking for a beginner strategy, you do that. And it's gonna work just fine. Even in team games, it works just fine as long as you are not the player at the back of the 4v4, you know. In 2v2, it works super fine. In 3v3, it works really fine. You're going to put pressure on the TP line, etc., etc. You're going to be fine.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're looking for a beginner deck, you go for that. You do that every game. You spam that every game. You get good with it. It's going to teach you to be aggressive. It's going to teach you to take control of the map. And yeah. It works just fine. The Zapotec are really hard to counter overall. So yeah, I would just do that if I am a beginner. You can even force that a little bit more by adding some plus spearmen or some chimus. And especially if you are playing 2v2s, you play with an ally that goes for a fast castle. You ask him to spam some goons and some artillery, while you just spam Zapotec allies and infantry. You stay into H2 and you win. Like, it's really that simple.
You should probably explain. So, you keep saying fast castle. And I know that comes
Yes.
from Age of Empires too, but you should probably explain what you mean.
Fast Fortress. Sorry, Fast Fortress. It's not. It's from Age of Empire 4 actually. Fast Fortress. Fast Fortress is basically a strategy in which you try to reach the third age, Fortress age, as fast as possible.
Right.
So you are not required to go fast Fortress yourself, at least when it comes to team games. In solo, though, I would highly recommend going for Fast Fortress. So usually what we consider a Fast Fortress is basically you send something like 3 to 4 card maximum, and with your 5th card, which is going to be 700 coin, 4th or 5th card, you're going to edge up to Fortress Edge. Sorry. So there you go. It's going to give you a timing that is usually around 9 minutes maximum in order to reach Fortress. And that's really something that you want to do usually with Inca.
Okay.
Unless you are going for the native spam strategy, which, as I said, for a beginner is perfectly fine. And if you are going to play this strategy as a beginner, put the 600 wood card into your deck, so that way you can sustain, a little bit easier a push into H2. So it's just gonna be it. So those 2 cards really, really important in H1. Then in H2, another card that we will consider for natives once again is the native combat card.
Okay.
Absolutely mandatory once again. Bottom left, second row. Yeah, there you go. Native combat card, 15% damage, 50% in points. So as you can see now, our natives are 40% boost, both attack and damage, and only with 2 cards.
Wow.
Which is awesome. Just awesome. So yeah, it's a lot. Only French can basically compete with that. So yeah, really, really awesome. Mm-hmm. So that's basically gonna be the core for almost any deck. If you are on a map which has good native tribes, you can go with the card Native Treaty, which is on the right side. There you go. If you go for that, that's a card that you will want to send first into going into H2. It's a really, really good card in order to do just that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Native Treaty, really, really good card that I would include if the tribes on the map are good. Okay. If you don't know if the tribes on the map are good, another card that I will always consider myself is the 2 Warrots. The 2 Warrots are really, really good. If you don't know what to send, just send 2 Warrots. Instead, for example, of sending 600 wood, just send 2 Warrots. They are going to build. You're going to have more HP on your Warrots. It's going to give you more line of sight. You are not going to waste villager time. So yeah, 2 Warrots, perfectly fine. In my opinion, better shipment, for example, that's 600 wood. Okay. So yeah, there you go. That's going to be the core, let's say, for this age. Another card that I will often consider if I have to stay into H2 is the 6 Jungle Bowman, which is often a card that I will consider. Okay. So yeah, let's put it in, but that's usually a card that I will consider if I want to put a little bit more pressure. If I'm not looking for more pressure, I won't put them into the deck, to be fair. Okay. Then going into H3.
Well, thoughts on Native Alliance.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. But honestly, don't bother.
Okay.
Don't bother. The only use case, let's say, for that card is ultra late game. You are a tempo-oriented Civ, you need map control. You do not want to lose map control because you sent a tempo negative card, especially because you will see usually we are not going to train native warriors and we are not going to care about the build limit of a native warrior. You're going to see just after. So really, that card, not that good. I would not consider it almost at all.
Okay, got it. All right, now H3.
Might be surprising, but yeah, there you go. We go into H3. So the most important card right there that once again I will consider in almost any strategy is the 10 Conquistador.
Okay.
10 Conquistador is Absolutely insane. Honestly, it's on a discount at that price. You are most likely gonna have that gold by the time you reach Fortress Edge in the first place. Dangerous allies, as we said, with all the buffs that we saw previously, they are gonna arrive on the field. They are already veteran. On top of that, they are gonna have 40% attack and damage next to your War Chief. So those guys are basically unkillable at that point, and 10 is enough to have a critical mass of them. And obviously, you can send it twice.
Right.
So you can have up to 20 of those bad boys around, and at that point, you have full map control again. So yeah, really, really amazing card right there. The 10 just utilize in absolutely every deck. At least to me. I didn't include it at first because some people might not be used to native and might not want to play native at all, in which case I can understand, but myself, I'm going to include them in almost any deck.
Okay, good to know.
Then you have the 5 priestesses. 5 priestesses is really, really key. It's in the first row, the 5th card. Yeah, there you go. So 5 priestesses, just very good value shipment, and it's gonna basically enable your community plaza shenanigans, I would say. So yeah, you need those priestesses in order to get some XP. It's gonna allow you to get a lot of shipments very, very quick. So yeah, 5 priestesses, really, really good.
Are they 2 for 1 on the community plaza or no?
They are 1.5 for 1.
Okay.
So they are not as good as Warrior Priest, but if I'm correct, you can get 16 of them now.
Okay.
Let me triple check that because I am not entirely sure. Yeah, 16 of them. So 16 of them, if you get on top of that, the last 9 villagers, you're going to have a lot of presence on the community plaza. Basically, that's going to be 24 plus 9, so 33% final damage that you're going to be able to generate thanks to priestesses. It's a ton. It's going to get your Urarakas to 70 damage against artillery in industrial, which is just absurd. So yeah, when people say they have a trouble dealing with artillery, you really need a big mass of artillery before you really trouble with that.
Okay.
So yeah, 5 priestesses, really, really good card. Another card, once again, if you go for some fast fortresses shenanigans, is the 5 Macemen. 5 Macemen, basically, if your opponent is in H2, he's trying an all-in against you, he has whatever as siege. So basically, if you want siege in H2, good siege, you're gonna need either pikes or musketeers. A pop of Macemen on top of any amount of pike or musketeer is gonna absolutely demolish it. Like, demolish it. It's way too much AoE damage. Usually when you siege, you are clumped up. So yeah, Macemen are gonna do wonder in that situation, and they are in the deck precisely for that, for a pop. That's all they are for. Other than that, you are almost never going to use this card. But for a pop, they are absolutely gorgeous, I would almost say at that point.
Okay.
So yeah. And the last card, I will hesitate between 2. You have either the 7 Urarakas, if you want to be a little bit more quote-unquote normal. I don't know if there is anything normal with Inca. Or the other card is the 14 2P allies. Yeah, there you go. So we are not going to go for Jungle Bowman in most decks. I will talk a little bit more about that just after. So yeah, 2P allies are going to be extremely good. Very good native archer that is going to do wonder against any kind of heavy infantry. So there you go. And you are not going to need the 7 Urarakas at that stage of the game, simply because you have up to 20 Conquistadors in order to dive on any kind of artillery in H3. Like, Conquistadors are excellent against any type of artillery that doesn't have 75, that isn't an heavy cannon, basically. Heavy cannons are too resilient, but a falconet, you just right-click the falconet, it's going to disappear from your screen, Mm-hmm. So you don't need the Urarakas at that stage of the game. If you are being pushed by 2 falconets, we already have enough answers, basically.
So a couple things to point out really quick for people
Yeah.
watching. The Maceman is just like your Skull Knight meets a ram, basically just a big guy with a huge mace, just kills things around him and then has very high siege, but is countered by, I think he has melee resistance, right? So he's going to be countered by light infantry that's kiting, but if he gets in range, you're dead.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. The big thing is it has a large area of damage. I believe it has an area of damage of 2. Let me double check that information. But yeah, it does a lot of damage in an AoE, and that's mainly what it is used for. In that case, as I said, it's basically against Musketeer or Pikemen. You just go in there and you swing. Yeah, 2.5 area of effect, 36 damage base. And this is before the 25% hit point and damage. So when they pop, they have 25% more end attack. So they don't have 36, they have on top of that a quarter more, which is, it's going to be 45 damage as soon as they arrive.
Wow.
With a 2.5 AoE, and they attack at a 2.25 rate of fire with a range of 2. They have more range than a normal melee unit. So yeah, they are amazing. If you they have range resist, by the way, not end.
Oh, okay.
Which is once again a bit surprising, but yeah, they are amazing when it comes to just this is a mass of unit that is trying to siege my building. I'm just gonna kill them, you know. And if you have to know something about the Maceman, don't go any technical or anything. Just stick to. I need to kill that mass of pikemen or that mass of musketeer that is H2 and under my TC sieging. I send the 5 Macemen.
Got it.
That's it.
Okay.
If you think about it that way, it works. Usually, by the way, I would rather send the 10 Jesuit allies first and then the Macemen. Why? Because the 10 Jesuit allies are going to allow you to cut reinforcement. And then, with the next shipment, you look to basically wipe the floor under your TC.
Okay.
Usually, that's the way I'm going to do.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go.
So, and it's also important to point out that these guys do not train from a war hut, that they train from the Kalanka, which is like, think
yes.
war hut versus noble hut for the Aztecs, right? There's 2 separate
exactly.
military buildings for the Macemen, the Haraka, and the Bolus warriors.
You can obviously train them from your stronghold as well.
Okay.
So once again, that's why this stronghold is so important. It's going to give you access to all of those. Once again, after, I would say, the first big counter push with the 5 Macemen, what you can do is send your Machu Picchu, you place your Machu Picchu, you train some Macemen, you place them inside your Machu Picchu, and you wait for your opponent to be stupid a second time. And you kill them again. So there you go. That's pretty much the strategy right there.
Okay.
Honestly, if you are low elo between your warlords and your stronghold, you are gonna be a nightmare to your opponent anyway. Like you don't have to overthink it. To be fair, as soon as you stabilize, once you are in Fortress Age, you can just send the 2 TCs, and at that point you are just gonna go to the moon while your opponent is stuck on 1 TC. You know,
Nice.
You're already on 3. So that's really the idea right there.
Okay.
Then going into H4. So the last card that we are going to add on top of that, one that is very, very important is going to be Blood Brothers. Usually, I'm honestly not a huge fan of Blood Brothers, but when it comes to this strategy, since we have no way of upgrading the Conquistador and the 2Ps other than by sending their respective shipment, I will just consider Blood Brothers right there. One thing, never put the 10 Infinite Jesuit into your deck, because the card has the same name as your H3 card with the 10 Jesuit allies. Both of them have the same name. So if you take the 10 Jesuit on the bottom right, they have the same 10 Jesuit allies right there. And if you look at the Infinite card, it's also called 10 Jesuit allies. This makes it impossible to send both cards into the game. Just be aware. So never put both cards into your deck.
Okay.
Never, ever. So that's why we need the Blood Brothers. It's in order to basically upgrade our conquistadors.
I see. Because if I sent this one, they would become guard level, right? But I can't.
Yes.
It's glitched. I can't.
Because you sent. Exactly. You sent the other one first.
Okay.
So, yeah, there you go. Another card that I will really consider most of the time is the Old Ways. The Old Ways card is the guy that is in front of the people sitting. Second row towards the middle. There you go. This one. So what this does is every big button discounted by 50%. There is one big button in particular that is extremely important to the Inca. It is the Stronghold big button. Once again, the Stronghold essential. The Stronghold big button, if I'm correct, for 1600 coin, it's gonna give you access to 4 almighty field cannons. Yeah, for 1600, 4 field cannons. You can discount that to basically 800, and you will have access to those 4 light cannons, field cannons. They are going to be upgraded, which is your get out of jail card against an artillery spam, basically. And you should keep this for that. Do not use field cannons to go and siege buildings. You have Huaracas for that. This is your get out of jail card. If your opponent has like 6 heavy cannons, you use this. But otherwise, do not. Really keep that card for that, because if you use it just to siege building and you lose the field cannons, then you are in a situation in which if your opponent masses 6 heavy cannons, you do not have an answer anymore. And you really don't want to be into that situation, you know?
Right.
So yeah, on top of that, it's going to it's going to discount every other big button. Almost all of the big buttons are really, really good. So yeah, do not hesitate too much. It's a very, very good card.
Okay. And then one more.
So yeah. One more, honestly, if you're a beginner, I will consider the 600 wood. If you are more advanced, what I like to put into my deck is the Mayan Allies, the Infinite Mayan Allies into H4, which is the card right there, which is going to send you 17, basically what is a Musketeer. And when I said earlier that we don't care about native limit, that's why. We honestly don't care, because most of our natives are not even gonna come from the map. It's gonna come from that shipment in the late game. So yeah, it's just a good I don't know what to send shipment, you know, in the late game. I like to have a good infinite shipment in the late game in case the game lasts, and this is basically the best shipment that you can get that is infinite.
Okay, gotcha.
So there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, this is this is I wouldn't say a standard Inca deck, but it is a good meta deck from just, again, a brilliant mind in the game. And if this is what he's saying to do, freaking do it. And so this is going to be your land deck, and where you're going to be really taking advantage of the innate bonuses regarding natives that Inca has. And so we've already demonstrated all your other options, right? So like if you want to switch your Tupi allies for Horaka, if you wanted to switch the 600 wood for the Mayan allies, you have options here, but we've already gone over what is the standard, and then you build from there. One
thing I would really add considering options, because that's an option that we haven't considered, and I think it's important. If you're going to be against a Civ that is going to mass a ton, really a ton of heavy infantry. So I'm thinking Brits, I'm thinking once again Japanese, I'm thinking all of those civs. Basically, remove the Tupi allies from the deck. Instead, we are going to put the Jungle Bowman support card, which is going to give them +1 multiplier against heavy infantry. And on top of that, in H2, remove a card that you don't think is as essential. So for example, you can remove Always. If you're a beginner, you want your 600 wood. Remove Always. And in H2, you have a card that is Curare, which is going to be +25% damage to your Jungle Bowman. And that way, you have the best Jungle Bowman you can get. And if you are playing versus a Civ that is very heavy infantry centric, I will consider adjusting my deck with those two cards.
Okay.
The support for the Jungle Bowman and Curare. And that way, heavy infantry is not a problem anymore at all.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. Yeah. So like this is why Kenoki is telling you to do the base, and then just think of various situations, right? So we kind of explained why you would switch out certain cards. We'll leave it like this, just for the flexibility of it. But just have different, like, as you keep playing the game, you'll realize, oh, I need a different deck for different situations.
Yeah.
This is how you do that.
Also, by the way, if you are gonna go against an heavy infantry Civ, when you send your native allies card in H1, sorry, I can't remember the name of that one, American allies, you are not gonna go with the Zapotec, you are gonna go with the Caribs, which is gonna give plus 10% damage to your melee units, but plus 10% as well, if I'm correct, to your archers. Basically, you're gonna have 2 upgrades for your archers in there, which once again is gonna make your archers a lot better at dealing with heavy infantry. So in case you need to deal with heavy infantry, you can see that you have a lot of flexibility both into the deck, but even baked in with the American ally card in order to adapt against that. So yeah.
Nice. So with that being said, really quick, I want you to take this deck and make it a potential water deck where we can, if we're on water, we want to be able to, mess with the opponent's water or secure water for ourselves, but, not go too crazy.
Yeah. So the big thing to understand with Inca is there is absolutely no reason to being the one opening on water. None. Oh. Why? Because you have the best eco card in Fortress Edge in the entire game, which is the 2TC. So if your opponent is gonna let you go to that card for free because he's booming on water, you just say yes. Oh. You just say, okay, mate, go for it. Mm-hmm. Like, you just take the trade. Here is the only difference. We are obviously gonna then put some cards, some Chincharaffs, which are gonna allow us to retake the water, at least on one side. And the other thing to know is that Inca has a big button in docks, which is very peculiar. Every 5 minutes into the game, it's gonna ship a Chincharaff and I believe a fishing boat. I believe it's 1 fishing boat. Honestly, we don't care about the fishing boat. The important part really of that big button is the Chincharaff.
Right.
You're gonna get for free. Yeah, it's 1 Chincharaff and 1 fishing boat for every 5 minutes into the game, which, as soon as you are basically around 20 minutes, is gonna make sure that you can retake a side of the water. Right. So that's basically gonna be the thing. If we go on water, it's gonna be to basically let your opponent go on water and then retake it from them.
Okay.
And in order to do so, once again, we are gonna fast fortress. And so once we are in Fortress Age, there are 2 shipments which are pretty much good if you want to retake the water, which is the free Chincharaff and the free Chincharaff support card.
Okay.
So the goal is going to be to remove a few cards. So the first thing I'm usually going to remove is indeed the Jungle Bowman card. We can remove it. So we are going to remove Curare as well. We're going to assume heavy infantry is not going to be an issue. Of course, if it is, do not remove those cards. But then we need to remove another card. And if we have to remove another card, I would remove the Messman. We have access. We still have access to the Spanish. We still have the Stronghold, and there you go. You had the 2 cards. I will say good luck to anyone that is water booming to put out good enough pressure to go against the Stronghold before 9 minutes. Mm-hmm. Right. Good freaking luck.
Yeah.
To cancel your Stronghold at 9 minutes, it's just almost not possible. I can see maybe 1 deck and nobody plays it. So you're good. So there you go. In case you are wondering, I'm thinking about the Spanish Logistician, which I think is the only water deck which has enough tempo in H2 in order to pressure you fast enough so you cannot drop a Stronghold.
Okay.
Any other water deck, I believe you're gonna have the time. So yeah.
Okay. We're 24 out of 25. So what do we want to?
Yes. Usually, I'm gonna go then into either you have the two Chincharaffs, or you can go basically into H4. And into H4, you can even add the 5 Chincha. Another thing that you can do is instead of piling up more and more Chincharaffs in order to retake the water, what you can do is very simply go for Fish Market in H1, which is basically as you retake the water, you have at least a little bit of gather rate boost. 20% on waves is good. So there you go. To be fair, don't think too much about it. Either of those options is good. Another option that you can go for instead of the 2 Chincharaffs is the 4 privateers in H2. So if you feel like three privateers. So you can remove the 2 Chincharaffs, you put the 3 privateers instead. If you are having trouble retaking the water in general, just put that one on top.
Okay.
Once again, I will wish luck to anyone that is in H2 that will have to deal with 3 Chincharaff plus 3 Chincharaff plus 3 Buccaneers.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Again, good freaking luck. So yeah, if your opponent is really, really investing into water, you have the options. But yeah, at one point, really, Inca was one of the master of the sea. I would say they were a sea that was starting on water. I wouldn't go for that anymore, simply because now the fast castle route is a lot better. You're a lot less safe into H2 than you were before. The meta has changed drastically. It's a lot more tempo shipment based nowadays for many reasons. So if you stick into H2, with the Chimmy runners not being as good as they were before on release in H2, you might take unnecessary risks. So honestly, just go for Fortress Edge, and from there deal with your opponent water, basically.
Okay. Well, everybody take a screenshot. This is going to be your take all Kenoki's information, right? And take a screenshot of this. And as we explained, there's various options to this, but basically disrupt the water, let them take it back. You win the water play. So Chincharaffs are very good. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out and then go back to where we were before. In terms of cards, where is the support?
9 Jungle Bowman, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Just a little thing also. Some of you might be thinking, with all of those gold shipments that you are putting into your deck, why are you not including the card that discounts the gold shipment? Which is second row, the 4th from the right side.
4th from the right
the one
side.
with a necklace. Yeah, there you go. So this one, why do you not send this one? Basically, it's only minus 25%. And you remember the card for the native build limit that you told me about?
Right.
Same thing here. We don't send negative tempo cards.
Right.
We do not. Why don't we do that, ladies and gentlemen? It's because Inca is extremely reliant on map control. You want to have the native trading post. You want to control the main trading post as well. To be fair, your tempos are excellent. You want to have access to food and coin on the map for as long as possible. You want your TC to not be in base. With 3 TCs, you're gonna reach a lot of villages extremely quickly. So you are gonna need a lot of resources to gather. You don't want to switch to farm too early, to estates too early.
Right.
And so in order to do all of that, you're going to need map control. And if you start losing map control because you sent tempo negative shipments, you are effed. So don't do that.
Got it.
Keep the map control. Keep the map control as early as you can. Avoid tempo negative shipments, basically.
Got it. Good to know. And just good advice in general for any civ. Let's back out of here. And we're going to go ahead, you and I, and we're going to go into a skirmish.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to go into, if you want to pick a map, you can pick a map. If you want to do just standard maps, we can do that. We're going to do easy AI, and you're just going to walk me through the opening of this standard build order to get us into that space so that everybody knows the opening moves, and we can go over the card order, how many vills, what we're building in order.
Let me get a really good map for them. I don't know the name anymore. It's a European map. Which one it is? Is it, with the TP line that is behind you? And you have a lot of
is that I know. Is that Balkan Mountains?
No.
The TP line is behind Balkan Mountains, right?
There is Balkan Mountains is fine, but that's not the one I was thinking about. To be fair, I was thinking about another one. Give me a sec. I'm trying to find it. Why can I not find
TP line behind you? That's
yeah.
I know Dnieper has the TP line kind of behind you.
No, not this one. I don't know why my European maps are not displayed. Can you scroll down a little bit? Again.
I could switch to European, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Mine don't show. I don't know why.
Here.
It's very, very weird. So Balkan is excellent. Honestly, almost any European map is excellent. But if there is one, Pripyat Marshes, by far one of the best maps. Basically, the Vaza allies are excellent for Inca. So if you are an advanced player and you want to play in tournaments, Vaza allies, there you go. You never go wrong with Vaza allies and Inca. So yeah, very, very good. Let's go. And also one thing, if you want to have extra swag points, is to always pick the pink color. That's the first thing.
That's your favorite?
Always.
Okay.
But yeah. So you're just gonna grab your crates. What you're gonna do is with your explorer, you're gonna build one tembo as soon as possible on the TP line, and Q villages, and then we are gonna look for one Kincha house early game.
So one Kancha, and then we want the tembo. Oh, but it's more expensive.
You want the tembo and then the Kincha.
Or was it always
so tembo first, and then you're gonna cut some wood for the Kincha house,
which will be fired directly at you.
And
you see, you're gonna need 20 wood.
Oh, I see.
So you need just two. The faster you get it, the better. To be fair,
we'll do 3.
But yeah.
And then, but the Tambo does give you population, right? That's one thing that we forgot to mention.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. I meant by you do not need early. There you go. And now everyone goes on food, and that way you're gonna be Gucci.
Okay.
So that's the first thing to do. When it comes to Explorer, what you are looking for are treasures with strong treasure gardens that are human, and that way you can convert them. Then you look for absolutely anything. For example, the treasure just top left, we saw a treasure with 2 knights. Here, you convert one of them, and you kill the other one. These are the type of treasure that you're going to target. Make sure to send your 3 villagers.
My bad.
Obviously.
It's my bad.
No problem.
Here we go. All right, so then the convert button is this guy, the Z, for me at least.
Yes.
And then we'll fight.
The other one is an AoE. And yeah. So that way you're going to be fine. Make sure to herd your hunt so it doesn't go away. Yeah, these guys have AoE damage, which is crazy. So yeah, one of the things is going to...
Oh, you almost got
that. We get it. With your Explorer plus the guy, yeah, you have the snare for edges, so you're fine.
Nice. How many vills? 15, 16?
Honestly, you should be fine right now. I believe it is 15, but more than that, I'm more looking at basically going up without idling. That's all I'm looking at.
Okay.
Just one thing. With your shipment, you received a chassis. A chassis is the scout. There you go. You want to send that guy towards your opponent base and see everything that is going on into his base.
Got it.
That's what I meant by you have perfect vision as Inca. So yeah, there you go. And meanwhile, you have your explorer that is focused on doing something else, which is gathering the good treasures.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait to convert. I'm not really too worried about treasure in this scenario, just to keep it standard. And then so for this, we're gonna
one more
this
village.
shipment.
one more villager. Just,
Got him.
Yeah, there
All
you
right.
go.
And
And
then-
after that, we're gonna edge up.
Okay, and then we
And,
just bank the shipment, right?
Yeah, for now, we are gonna bank it, so we stay a bit more flexible. You could send Sampa Inca already, but honestly, I prefer not to. And so that way, I am a bit more flexible in case...
Oh, I messed it up.
Oh, you pressed X instead.
I did. All
That's
right.
fine.
All right,
We
let's
all do.
pause really quick. And
So, here, multiple options. So, if you are not on a good ATP map, the Wise Woman is the option number one. If you are on a good ATP map, so a map in which you can take more than 3 trading posts, the Chief is the option, completely on the left. If you are looking to play long H2, which is not something I recommend to do, but sometimes, you know, that's what you have to go for, VLD.
okay.
So these are your choices for H2. There you go. So here we are on a map on which we are not going to secure more than 3 trading posts. And when I mean trading posts, I'm not talking about native trading posts. I'm talking about real trading posts.
Right.
So here we are going to go for the Wise Woman.
Okay. Got it.
There you go. So accept. And from there, you're going to switch a large portion of your villagers onto wood.
They backherded it. Oh.
It's fine. All the villagers that are on the main one, you have a lot of villagers that are... Yeah, those ones are going to go on wood after that one. All of them. There you go. So what you want is, you see the trading post at the bottom right?
Yes.
You want your chess key. You can send it there, for example. You can send your explorer there, but you will want to secure 2 different native traps. So here you have the first one. So when you click on it here, there you go, Q. Boom, that's the first. And you are gonna go with your chess key for the second one.
Okay.
As soon as possible. Q 1 or 2 villager, just for good measure.
Okay.
There you go. So that way, that's one thing less that you have to think about.
That's right.
And what we are looking is 125 wood in order to get our second trading post at the bottom left, bottom right. So yeah, there you go. You're gonna click on it. You're gonna build it. So this one is different from the first. You can now build from it.
Okay.
There you go. Look. And from there, we are looking for a community plaza. And then you take all of the villagers that are currently onto wood. You put 4 of them onto coin, the rest onto food.
Okay. So community plaza first, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So we want to
So
wait for
you're a
that.
little bit late here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. 1,
There you go.
4 on coin.
And the rest onto food.
Got it.
So now you're gonna send the card Native Allies.
Okay.
Sorry.
American allies.
No. Oh, you don't have Native Treaty in the deck.
Oh no, we didn't take it.
hey.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Yeah. So in that case, don't go for that one.
Okay.
Rather go for the 5 villages.
Okay.
We're gonna do basically 5 villages, 700 coin. We're gonna edge up, and then we are gonna go into our Sapa Inca and buff cards, basically. So that's gonna be how we do it. Put the priestesses onto the plaza and go for XP.
Nice. This is smart. Or sorry, XP. They were already on it.
XP, yeah, it's the default one.
This guy does not.
So
need
that
to
way
be
you're
on
gonna. No.
Okay. I have 3.
So this
still
is
there.
really the default. One thing you could do is use the big button in order to put some pressure. Usually, I would rather consider using the native ally guard in order to do so.
Okay.
And now I would rally the town center onto the coin.
Okay. And then do we want to pull those off once they hit 300?
No.
Okay.
No, because we are going to need coin once we're going to H2. Basically, as soon as we are going to click for H3, we are going to do a 50-50 split. Queue 1 more villager.
Okay.
That's going to be the last, and after that, we are going to edge up. So with Native Treaty, you don't invest into the big button, okay? The only difference from everything that we have done up until then is instead of sending 5 villagers, you are going to send a Native Treaty. That's the only difference.
Okay. I see. Because that would give you the
also-
pressure.
Yeah. Also, you could have sent Sapa Inca at that point. I just didn't included it in that demo, but you can see that you have more than enough shipment in order to do so.
Right.
So here we are going to edge up once again, and in that case, we are going to edge up with the messenger.
So it's quick. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Put 50-50, so you want 12-12, basically, something like this. So take a lot of food villager and put them on coin right now. On coin, yeah.
We should be good from here.
Yeah, there you go. And from there... So it can be good to just stockpile a little bit of shipments. As I said, you can send the Sapa Inca if you are sure about what you are going to do. But otherwise, just stacking is good. So just as we jump, put pause. Let's just put pause, into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just so we explain the different options. So if you are in a game in which you are not pressured at first, what I would consider going for first is a stronghold. That might seem very counterintuitive, but if you can just plunk down a stronghold and be fine, just do that. You know,
right.
Like it's like so good, like don't even think about it twice. Another option could be just sending 5 priestesses, but I would rather do stronghold 5 priestesses, especially if you're a beginner, rather than the opposite. If you're sure about what you're doing, 5 priestesses, then stronghold, for example, but it might be too late for the stronghold already. Okay?
Okay.
Our goal is to basically go for the 2 TC card as early as we can at that point. We are gonna consider that we are under pressure. Okay?
Okay.
So if we are under pressure, the first card that we are looking for is the Jesuit Allies.
Okay.
Which is the 10. 10 Jesuit Allies. So that's why I asked you to put a lot of people onto coin. That's the reason why.
I see.
Okay? So there you go. So that's going to be the first thing. If we cannot send that card, you have the 5 priestesses, which remember can convert enemy unit, and then the 5 messmen.
Okay.
Okay? But if you're a bit faster to swap, honestly, you should be able to send the 10 Jesuit Allies by basically at minute 30 maximum. Here you might be a bit late, but to be fair, it's fine. Also, another thing that you can do is obviously look for coin treasures during H2. And that's why I told you, you do not move the villager from coin. So for example, you did a thing in which you gathered the coin crate with your coin villager.
I see.
I would have gathered them with the food villager.
Okay.
That's, very small details, but that's what makes your timing right there. You could already have the Jesuit Allies.
That's right.
That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
To say. So we are going to assume you're under pressure. So our first card is going to be Jesuit Allies. Okay. We are going to wait for that. And then we are going to send the 5 messmen.
Okay. And then when do we start training from here, or just whenever? Like whenever we get the resources, then that's when we...
Whenever we are stable.
Okay.
The first thing is we stabilize, and then we restart training units.
And then we wouldn't send...
So also you... Yeah?
We wouldn't send Sapa Inca until... Oh, that's another Chasqui. We wouldn't send Sapa Inca until we have...
Mass.
Yeah.
Basically. We could with the early pressure, but honestly it's not that big of a deal. But we could. We could have already sent Sapa Inca. So as I said, you're going to be a bit late right there. But now you're going to be able to send the Jesuit Allies right now. So just send them. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
And remember that you have the big button and then you have the macement. So what you want to do is to queue a bunch of villagers after you press the button. Also, now you want to put a few villagers onto wood. You don't need 16 onto coin. 10 should be fine. And you put the rest. There you go. So now the big thing is, once again, if you can pause, the big thing is we want a defensive pop. Okay? So what we have is the 10 Jesuit Allies. Usually it should arrive almost 20 seconds faster, but it's perfectly fine for the demo. What you will want then is the 5 messmen. But on top of that, you want to synchronize that with the big button from your TC.
Got it.
The thing that you might realize is that all of that is an issue for your population because we haven't placed a second Kensha house.
Right.
So here is the thing that you want to do. For example, before we send the maceman, you can see that we have a lot of full stockpile right there. What you want to do is basically queue 1 or 2 wheels, you queue 2 wheels, then you queue the big button, and then you queue as many wheels as you can.
I see.
And then you send the 5 messmen.
Okay.
What is this gonna do? It's gonna basically allow you to delay the pop by 40 seconds, which is the time of the 5 messmen required for the 5 messmen to arrive. And then you're gonna queue villagers, so you're gonna have a lot of seconds available for you in which you can overpop and keep producing villagers.
I see. Okay, so that's
the big idea.
So let's see that. So we'll do that, and then we'll queue a ton.
So yeah, that's what you would want to do, but cancel the big button for now, because you want to time it. So what you can see is that your Jesuit allies are still gonna take like 20 seconds. So now you want 3 villagers in queue, then the big button, then you want to queue as many vills. Queue villagers before you press the shipment.
Okay.
Queue villagers, and then you send the shipment.
Got it.
And that way you're gonna have a big pop. Those guys, you want to send them for... priestess are military units. What you want with those guys is to go and basically intercept reinforcement.
Right.
Okay, while you are being safe behind. And with the 5 messmen, you're gonna basically collapse onto your opponent. Okay? And after you have done the cleanup, you're gonna send the 2 TC. You can build another Kensha house right now because you just gathered enough food. But you see, in case you cannot gather the wood because you're under pressure, you have to idle into your TC. All those shitty situations. 2 TC card after that. Just 2 TC card. And here you can see that you will have your big pop. Because you have the 5 messmen, you have the bikes that are gonna come out, and on top of that you have the Jesuits. So right there you have your pop. If you time all of that absolutely perfectly with the 3 priestesses, etc., you can see that you have a big defensive pop right there.
Right.
And it's really, really hard to fight against.
Look how guys, yeah.
And once you have the 2 TC, you need to make sure that you still have villager on food, 2 TCs, and once you're stabilized, honestly, now you can start training some native units.
I see. I'm understanding now.
From your thing.
Okay.
So you see, it's really a 2-piece combo. I will almost say.
Right.
Use your town centers in order to secure food. So, for example, right there, and the second one, a bot here. Perfect, right there, and there you go.
Wow.
And resend the Jesuit allies again.
Whoa. Okay. Cool.
And you can see now that you both have a mass. You have 2 TC coming up. Your villagers have never been interrupted. Everything is good to go. In case you need more pikemen, more melee stuff, you can re-click on the big button into one of your TCs, and you're just Gucci. You know,
and then I'll probably send Stronghold at some point. I could send Stronghold instead of the Jesuit allies, or to take even more control.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Obviously, here you would like to position your army next to your most forward TC. In order to make sure that it's gonna go up.
Right,
Careful,
right.
You took priestesses with you.
Did I do that again? Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
It's my hotkey.
And you can see that at that point, you are basically good to go. So that's really, really the idea right there.
Okay.
And now you can start to get your upgrades, and you produce on multiple TC. Go. And once you have all of your TC, you can see that you have a convincing mass. Make sure to queue. If you don't have a hotkey, I have a hotkey that is F1. F1 selects all of my TC at once, and there you go. Put a hotkey for selecting all your TC, and you queue villager non-stop. You want hunted dogs at that point, and from there you're super good to go.
Okay.
Like really, really good to go.
Wow.
And there you go.
Okay, so we're going to have to do another video after this that's going to explain the Zapotec build a little bit more, and then we'll play with pressure, and do the Zapotec. But, this is a lot of information for one video at this point, and I think it's really cool. You can see the mass, you can see the flexibility of the build, how defensive, the map control. I think this is really sweet, and it definitely challenges new players to really nail down the timing. So I think this is a really interesting and really cool build. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And guys, if you,
My armies.
we'll take that surrender.
My town, a burning
If you guys are, ever confused about any of the card orders, I think Kenoki explained that pretty well. You can just go back and just watch that video. But, you can see that, if you have really good natives, then we would have the allies, right? And you would have sent allies. And then instead of the 5 vills, 700 coin, go to Fortress, take Stronghold, and go from there. But in this way, no pressure, you're able to get a mass roll. The one mistake that I made, obviously, keep your vills on coin, get that 750 in anticipation for the Jesuit pop once you hit age 3. Other than that, I know you have a wealth of information, Kenoki, but I'm going to try to keep the video at least under 2 hours if I can. I really appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. We'll do another one explaining the Zappa tech and get into it. I want to do more videos that are like more in depth, we really appreciate it, man. You doing the Inca overview. We really hope that all of you are enriched by it, that you found it informational, that you learned something about Inca. If you have any questions or any comments or concerns, feel free to leave a comment in the video, or you could see us on the Sunbros Discord where Kenoki exists, and you can ask him. He's the man with the baguette. You can ask him, any questions that you have. He's always present and available. Thank you so much, Kenoki. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please feel free to leave a comment. It is just good to be back, and it's good to talk with Kenoki. And with that being said, you guys have a wonderful week, and we will see you in the next one.